Hello, dear friends and colleagues. Today I come to talk to you about a topic that is very popular in the United States at this time, and it's been brought up at meetings in other countries as well. It is a topic that is not usually dealt with in conference interpreting, but due to certain political circumstances in the United States, many speakers are bringing up this situation. I am talking about the concept of gerrymandering. We have heard many times on the news, on TV, on the radio, and on the printed press the term gerrymandering, especially when it comes to American politics. But oftentimes we don't quite understand what it is or what it means. And that's what I would like to clarify today. The term gerrymandering is a political term that is born in the United States in the 19th century, concretely in the year of 1812 in the state of Massachusetts, or as it is officially called, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. In 1812, Massachusetts had a governor by the name of Eldridge Gerry, and Governor Gerry, in that year, 1812, after the population census of 1810, was working together with the state legislature on the redistricting of the state for electoral purposes. So they were drawing the districts for elections. Concretely in that situation, the concern was the election to the Senate, and they were drawing the districts for that, and the governor was trying to favor his political party at the time called the Democratic Republican Party, and for that they drew lines in the entire state of Massachusetts to favor his political party on against the opposition, the other political party that we had at the time in the United States. When he did this, that clearly favored his political party, and of course it upset the rest of the people that didn't belong to the party. And once that this was approved by the legislature in Massachusetts, the new electoral map with the new districts was published. And when this happened, journalists immediately looked at that map and said, look, the way that the districts are redrawn now in Massachusetts makes it look like it was if it was a salamander. So from that point on, the journalists decided to call these actions of Governor Gerry, redistricting the state in a shape of a salamander, as gerrymander. Gerrymander turned into a verb, and now in the United States, every time that politicians redraw electoral districts for the purpose of giving advantage of one political party over the other, it is called gerrymandering. So therefore, gerrymandering exists all over the United States. It's a common practice that takes place usually after the population census that it's practiced every 10 years. Now it's been a lot in the news because of the actions taken by the state legislature in the state of Texas, and then the answer by the state of California. But then what is gerrymandering? Gerrymandering is this redistricting to favor one political party over the other. And it belongs in the books because of this governor of Massachusetts, Governor Gerry, in the year of 1812. Now, gerrymandering can be accomplished in 4 different ways, and you perhaps will run into these concepts when you're working in the booth. So you know, gerrymandering can happen first of all by what is called in politics packing. Packing means when at the time of redistricting a state, the party in power decides to put most of the population that favors the opposition party in one single district or in a few districts, and that way kind of neutralizes their power in the state, because it doesn't matter how many they are, they can only get one seat, one representative, one state senator, and so on, to represent them all. The second possibility is that instead of doing it that way, instead of packing, they do it by what is called cracking. And cracking is exactly the opposite. Cracking means to create these very convoluted electoral districts that end up looking like a salamander sometimes, so that you can group all the people from your political party together, regardless of where they live, so that you assure that that political district will have your sympathizers in a majority all the time. The third possibility that there exists and is less common than the two before is the one that is called hijacking. What is hijacking? Well, hijacking is when two members of the opposition are running for a re-election, and these two incumbents, after the districts are redrawn, end up being in the same electoral district. In other words, from two districts, now they make only one. There's a merger of districts, and therefore they end up with the option of having to run one against the other, even though they are both from the same political party. That way, you know that, yes, the opposition will win the seat, but it will be only one seat and never two, because both of these popular politicians will be betting for the same seat in the state or in the federal house. And finally, the last way to accomplish this gerrymandering is called kidnapping. And what does kidnapping mean? Kidnapping is that sometimes the state legislature, when they redraw the districts, they make sure that the place of residence of a representative from the opposition party, especially if that person is very popular, ends up taken out of that district and put in a different district. So they changed the district lines in a way that, although the district will pretty much stay the same, the part of the district where the opposition politician lives will be added or incorporated into a new electoral district or an already existing electoral district where the dominant party has a majority, and that way that person gets neutralized and will not win an election. Now, there's a lot of criticism against this, of course, because people that criticize it, they say that this goes against the principle, the democratic principle of one person, one vote, because you're rigging the elections from the very beginning. Also because it goes against representation. People are really not being represented here because in order to win an election, you will end up districts composed of different populations, geographically speaking, and economically speaking, that will have different needs, but that doesn't matter because now they're all in one district, so some of them will be addressed and some others will not. So you're not correctly represented in politics. And then it also is criticized because of polarization. Polarization means that then with gerrymandering you will end up with some districts that for sure have one dominant party winning all the time, and others that will have the opposition party winning all the time. And the biggest problem with this is that you end up with what in politics is called safe seats. That means that regardless of what happens, you know that you will always win the election. And for that reason, you have a safe seat. You don't have to listen to the voters because you know you're going to win no matter what, just because of your party affiliation. And finally, the legality. There's some people that argue that gerrymandering is unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court of the United States has agreed in a way, because they have determined that gerrymandering solely for racial purposes is unconstitutional. However, they decided to remain silent when gerrymandering is motivated by any other circumstance. So please make sure that you remember when you hear the term gerrymandering, that you know what it is about, that you understand what it is, that you know where the name comes from, and also that you understand that it's basically a way to deliberately control the outcome of an election by manipulating the electoral districts in a specific demarcation, whether it's a state or a county or the entire country. So next time that you are faced with this term, you will know how to interpret it correctly because you will have understood it. And to me, that is very important. At least that is my opinion. Thank you very much.